letting you know that's what we need to say.
Yeah, it's good to be home. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Grappone here with Michael Curtis.
That's right.
And welcome back to another episode of It's Good to Be Home. If you like the channel, if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe. Michael Curtis here is a seasoned loan originator, mortgage broker,
That's
all
right.
of the above.
All those things.
All those things. I'm a licensed realtor, serving North and South Carolina throughout the Charlotte area. And today we're in Indian Land, South Carolina. We're standing in front of the Indian Land YMCA, right off of the Route 521 corridor. It's a little windy today.
It's windy, so it's not the cold that gets you, it's the wind that gets you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we are officially in the wild for today's video, and we're excited about it.
Yeah.
We're excited because if you watched last video, we touched on it a little bit. However, we've got a lot happening down 521.
Yeah, we do.
Know?
Yeah. I feel like Jim Cantori right now.
That's right.
Here, you stand right here. I'm gonna get behind the camera.
Yeah.
And so tell us everybody what we're seeing, because we're standing in front of the YMCA.
Yeah.
Let's over your
so this is Indian Land YMCA right over here on this side. Over here, this is considered Crossridge. Can't remember if we said that already. So we got Crossridge over here. That is Inspiration Studios, City of Light.
Yep.
Down there, and then on the other side of that, that's where the fabled Costco, rumors of a Costco is supposed to be going in on the other side, just down the street, which of course would bring a lot to our area. Okay?
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, Michael, your hair looks phenomenal in this
Oh
wind.
yeah, I bet. The wind, I'm sure, is giving me no favors on that. That's okay.
Yeah, I wish
doing it
my hair
live.
could blow in the wind like that. That's right. So I'm gonna let's point out this way a little bit. So there's all this land that's cleared in front of the YMCA, and quite honestly, I'm not really sure what's going in right here. I do know they have talked about plans. I'll get in front of the camera now too. We've heard that there are plans for a Costco to come here.
Yeah.
There's going to be a hospital. Medical University of South Carolina, MUSC, is building a hospital right out here. There's just been so much development going up and down here. So behind us, so we're facing south, so up the road, up 521, 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes is Ballantyne.
That's Ballantyne, yep. And then if you go further south, of course, that's Lancaster, Sun City, a lot of new shops down that way as well. So this area is just developing. We're seeing a lot of neighborhoods. Again, I know you correct me every time. Bridge Mill or Mill
Bridge Mill is up
Bridge
here, yeah.
Mill.
Mill Bridge is in Waxhaw.
Which is not far either.
Yeah, not too far. So, and it's interesting, the growth and development here. So Indian Land is this, it's the northern neck of Lancaster County. So think of it as like this skinny neck. If you've ever seen Idaho, there's a skinny part at the north, and then it's kind of rotund in the middle, right? Kind of wide. So it's kind of like that, or like Oklahoma sideways.
It's like you're describing a dad bod right now.
Yeah. Lancaster County looks like a dad bod.
Heard it here first.
But yeah, the northern neck of Indian Land is where there's been a lot of growth. It's you're in South Carolina, so you got the South Carolina taxes. You're sandwiched right in between Fort Mill and Union County, North Carolina. So Fort Mill is in York County, South Carolina, Union County, North Carolina. And then bordered on the north, Ballantyne is in Mecklenburg, which is Charlotte.
Yeah.
And there's been, with lower taxes and more development, more housing communities coming down here. Eventually, the commerce had to come.
Yeah.
And it has.
Hopefully the infrastructure too.
Yeah.
So I know what you just described it really paints a good picture, because I think what we're seeing is strategically located just south of Charlotte, right on the other side of Fort Mill as well, which is another hot area. This area is it's right for the pickings, and so infrastructure, I know they're doing a lot there as well. Impact reports coming out, of course, going back to Costco with their plans or wishful plans. I don't know if it's fully confirmed.
Yeah, I think their policy, what I've read, Costco's policy, they don't announce until about 3 months before it's going to open up that, hey, this building that we're building, and right now it's just cleared land, but this building is going to be a Costco.
It's like a Disney. It's a Disney thing, you got to keep it under wraps.
It's the worst kept secret in Indian Land right now.
Yeah.
So talking about infrastructure.
Yes.
So how long have you lived in Indian Land?
Oh gosh, I've only lived in Indian Land for a couple of years. However, I've been in York County, in Fort Mill, for about 8 years before that. So I'm familiar with what we got going on.
So my wife and I came from Waxhaw, and then we were in the Matthew Stallings area before that. So we've been in Charlotte for about 15 years. But when we first moved to Indian Land back in 2017, there was an issue on the ballot, and people were voting for whether or not to incorporate Indian Land. And we ended up voting not to incorporate Indian Land, mainly because we had all the services down in Lancaster. Would have been redundant to have it up here. Maybe eventually, as the area grows and grows, then maybe there's a need at some point for more infrastructure that way. But speaking of Lancaster, so Lancaster's probably 25 minutes south. Downtown Lancaster, the town, which is the county seat, is about 25 minutes south of here. And if you've ever been to downtown Lancaster, it's one of those towns that back in its heyday during the mill times, I think was textiles. It was a pretty bumping town back in the day. But as people moved away, as the mills shut down, it was economically it was kind of hurt. And it doesn't have the robust economy of a Fort Mill or a Waxhaw or a Belmont or Matthews, these other towns. But as there's more growth pushes down 521, we're going to have that. There's communities that are being built going down there too.
Really nice communities as well. I think what you described is really interesting as well, because you're absolutely right from a historical standpoint. We saw Lancaster kind of have that period of erosion, right, in their economy, and then we've seen that kind of evaporate a lot of opportunities, and now we're seeing kind of the pendulum swing back. And the reason for that is, of course, working from home, transplants finding more affordable areas in the Charlotte area, now coming into South Carolina to Lancaster County specifically as well. So, and then we've got other hot pockets. You think about Union County, but we've got these different areas that we have our eye on. Jimmy and I have our eye on being in this market, and we're just seeing that now that we see this influx of population, YMCAs are coming, Costco's are now coming. We're seeing, when's Target? Where's Target? Right? Target should be coming here, So,
we have Targets nearby.
We got them nearby. I mean, they're not far. Like, the closest one is only 15 minutes, but nowadays you got a Target 5 minutes from you.
Well, you got one in Mecklenburg, and you got two of them on Ray Road. You got Stonecrest and Blakeney, which are like 5 minutes from each other. They've got two Targets. You got Wesley Chapel.
Which that's the one that's 15 minutes from here, so not far at all.
So I mean, it makes sense that eventually we would have one on 521.
But just going back to my point, I think it's really interesting is that now that we see this population boom because of affordability, we're seeing a lot more services, a lot more infrastructure, and it's really exciting to see because you and I, we've been in this market for we've been living and working here for over a decade, both of us, and so we're seeing really exciting things happening like YMCA. So this family enrichment, we got families coming here as well. It's really exciting to see that.
Yeah, it really is. So YMCA back behind us here. This is only a couple of years old. You want to walk down there and kind of take a look at it? Let's do that.
Let's see what we got.
All right, cool.
We're walking closest airport, Jimmy. So that would be in Charlotte Douglas Airport. And what is that, like 30, 40 minutes?
So location wise, to kind of give everybody an idea of where we are right now. So we're about 10 to 15, probably about 10, 12 minutes from Ballantyne, about 25 minutes to South Park, and we're, depending on traffic, anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes to Charlotte Douglas Airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the country, in the world actually. A
report just came out, it's one of the oldest and one of the busiest. So to think about the lasting impact that it's had, over 88 years it's been established. So that was pretty cool to get that. I did not know that, This week it celebrated 88 years old, and so it's been humming along. It's not as, highbrow or name brand as an LAX or a JFK, but boy, we do have a good airport. That thing, it's humming. Cool, so we're gonna check out YMCA?
We are. Let's so there was actually there was a report that just came out from Zillow earlier this week, and it named the 10 hottest real estate markets in the United States for 2023 with their projection. and Charlotte was #1 in the country.
Number one, not even just top 10.
No, not even top 10. Charlotte was Zillow's #1 projected. Yeah, the hottest real estate market in 2023. That was their projection. And it's because, like you said earlier, you know, people are moving here from all over the country. And people are moving here internationally as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that as well. One thing that's exciting, I know I mentioned families and growing families as well, which is another big, outside transplants is another big influx of growth. Education. Yeah. We've got really good education over here, both from higher education and just from, you know, like regular K through 12 is really good as well.
So yeah, I was actually going to mention, I was reading an article earlier this morning about CMS, which is Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. They're searching for another superintendent. They've had about 20 superintendents in the last 10 years. Just had an interim superintendent that left. But anyway, they're hiring for that. But they also have they're also looking for more teachers. There's 141. Let's not get hit.
Live TV.
This is live filming. Hey, it's either 141 or 181,000 students in Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. Yeah. Representing.
You want to flip it around for folks to see?
Sure. Yeah. Let's see that.
It's a good angle.
Here, hold that for me.
I gotcha.
Hold my beer. Sorry, it's just a matcha. But yeah, there's 181,000 students. 141,000 students representing with 180 countries and speaking over 200 different dialects.
That's amazing.
And they're looking for more international teachers to help out.
I can only imagine. Yeah, the international population is really growing. Fun fact, you know this, Jimmy, but I am from South Africa. We've got a big South African population right here in the Charlotte area as well, which is cool.
Wow.
Yep.
So right now we're getting closer to the Indian Land YMCA building. I see some basketball courts, outdoor basketball courts over there. It's an impressive 2-story building. There's a playground right here.
Fields,
yeah. Let's walk over here and check out the fields. I don't know.
Lots of classes that folks can take.
So yeah, we'd like to talk about wellness as well sometimes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, what do you like to do to stay healthy?
Gosh, you know, and I know if you're catching up with us in the last video, start of the year, so we're still right there at the beginning of the year. Obviously, this is a time of year that people are more open to changing habits, trying different things, and I mean, Jimmy and I, we're in the same camp as everybody else, and so for us, you know, we're a couple of dads, we're a couple of people just trying to be the best versions, better versions of ourselves. Oh, we got some fun stuff back here. That's a big something, big shade cover if you're waiting. That's nice. That's a nice touch. But yeah, I think for me, I don't set resolutions. However, what I do try to do is just be, I call it stacking days. I want to be 1% better every single day. You know, because I feel like if I set a big lofty resolution, and I think people can relate to this, if you set this big thing like, I'm gonna be 90 pounds thinner in 30 days, and if you don't hit that goal, it's like, well, what's the point, you know? Right. And so for me,
well, and the scale is just one way of measuring progress.
Right. That's right. So for me, it's like every day my bad choices. Right. And so for me,
some days they do, some days they don't.
That's right. Some days they don't, and that's okay too. So I'm just really working on grace on myself and just being 1% better, just stacking each day because I'm building towards something, and that's my goal this year is just trying to be a better person, a better husband, you know. And I think it's important. This is something I listened to recently as well, is that if you do have bad habits, if you've got toxic habits or things that you really need to change or want to change, it's so important that your why, you may have heard this term before, but if you have a why that is bigger than your habits, like something like, you know what, I need to get up early every morning so I can make sure that I'm up and I'm able to, you know, see my kids before they go to school, or I need to get up early so I can just have a better start, or whatever it is. You got to have a why bigger than wanting to hit the snooze button in the morning. Right. And so, I mean, that's the thing is like, you got to really think about that. I think it's overused, that word, like, oh, you know, what's your why? Well, it's true though. Even as saturated as that word is, you got to have a big why in order to make it through breaking habits or starting habits that you need to start as well.
Yeah. So I paused right here because we got some soccer fields back here.
Nice, they're big too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What are you listening to?
Oh, I listen to all kinds, mostly sports related or like just mindfulness. If you're familiar with Jay Shetty.
Oh yeah.
I love Jay Shetty. He's always posting really.
I think he has the biggest business and entrepreneur stuff too.
I do listen to that just to kind of try and keep those tools sharpened, right? Because we want to be the best versions of ourselves for us as well. And so, about those, but yeah, any suggestions on your side?
Well, I want to give a plug for a book that a friend of mine who I grew up with. We actually didn't get to know each other until late in high school, and we were. So he's got a company. Yeah, where are you pointing?
I was gonna say we could head back down that way.
All right, here. Let's just stand here. I think we're wrapping up here pretty soon.
Oh, gotcha. That works too.
Yeah. So get your exercise right there.
Yeah, I'm over here just huffing.
So anyway, yeah. So my friend Josh Goodman, he owns a company called Pour My Beer.
Okay.
You've heard the saying about entrepreneurs, like find a problem, figure out what a problem is, and then come up with a solution for it, and that's where you'll be able to grow a big business. So he came up with an idea. He was he went to a baseball game years ago, and his friends were waiting forever to get a drink, and it was just a big hassle. So came up with this innovative solution where people could pour their own beers. Well, he ended up writing a book about it that has all these stories of his entrepreneurial journey. And the cool thing about it is how raw it is. And he'll tell you, he didn't go to like the biggest business school. He didn't make good grades in high school and kind of waited till the end till he figured out, oh, if I want to play college football, I gotta do better and apply myself there. He learned his first. He had a job in between his junior and senior in college, selling Cutco knives, and made $20,000 in the summer. I mean, he sold a fishing knife to my dad, who he still has today, 20 years later.
That's the thing is, like, I think there's something to be said about education being important. Obviously, you want to be educated because it teaches you a lot of critical thinking skills. But what's also important is just having good habits. And I mentioned it earlier, is like having good habits, disciplining yourself. Like, nobody likes discipline at a time, but it reaps a harvest. It reaps a harvest in whatever that might be, what you apply yourself in. We'll talk about business, starting businesses, how we can thrive in our businesses, because I mean, Jimmy and I, we have our businesses that we're trying to grow as well.
Exactly,
so, good stuff.
Cool. Well, hey everybody, thanks again for watching. This is
good to be home.
Good to be home on the road. Shaky camera work and everything.
Wind, hair everywhere.
Hair, you've got hair blowing. I've got. Anyway, well, thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the CLT Life, and hit the notification so you're notified each time we have new content. Michael, you're always posting good stuff out there on social media too.
I'm trying to be like you. Little by little.
There we go. Well, hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back on another episode really soon. Take care. A 2-year-old son at home, and I don't have much hair on my head, but I've got some other hair that's kind of migrated south, and so my son calls it grass on my belly because I got some frontal hair, and so he'll say grass, and then he'll pull up his shirt and says no grass.
No grass.
He's like, mommy, no grass, daddy grass. So yeah,
it's too much.
So
it's good stuff.
Anyway, all right. So you think it's too bright right here?
It's kind of squinty. You let me know what you think.
Yeah, but it is a little bright.
Up to you.
We don't want the sun behind us though.
No.
So I mean, for us, it's pretty good lighting.
I can make it work.
Cool.
You'll be all right.
All right, let's do it.
You ready?
I am. Well, this. Do I want to wear the windbreaker? I guess let me zip it up.
You look like a weatherman,
Yeah.
With the Columbia windbreaker on.
All right.
It's good to be home, right?
Good to be home. Yeah. We're not.
You need me to grab some stuff?
Yeah.
We got all of our gear on the floor here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I might edit some of this stuff out. I might not. Yeah, let's grab all this stuff.
You want to drop this in my car real quick?
No. Just throw it over your shoulder there. Yeah, just throw it over your shoulder. So there was actually here. Throw that over my shoulder.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just gonna close it real quick.
Okay.
So nothing's dropping out of it.
Yeah.
Bam.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Cool. We're not at home.
We're not. Well, I'm just letting you know that's what we need to say. Yes.